Yo, what's good fam? Back with your boy Imperial Propaganda here, and today we are talking about the Death Company. It's been a little minute since we had a video, but I couldn't resist talking about this topic any longer. The strongest units available in our Blood Angels Codex, and if you don't think so, I am here to change your mind. Now fam, hear me out. With the recent points drops to the Blood Angels and the buff to Black Rage, now giving the Death Company units OC within 6 inches of any Blood Angels character, the Death Company and the Death Company Captain, more importantly, are probably back up to being one of the strongest units in our army. Brings them sort of back up in line to being that killing brick that they used to be known as in previous editions. I'm sort of new, so 10th edition is my first edition, and I'm not as butthurt about some of the recent changes to the Death Company as many other veteran players. So I still really like the Death Company. I think their lore is really dope. But furthermore, let's go over some of the reasons why I think you should take them on the tabletop, some of the ways that you should use them in your army, and how to sort of get the most use out of their points cost. Incoming Vox from the future. So I had like 90% of this sort of video scripted out, and then Blood Angel Commander, old John, decided to also cover the same subject. So if you haven't seen that, go check it out. But we'll cover a couple of other little things in here, and we'll just glaze the Death Company a little bit more than he did, because I'm a Death Company fanboy. Alright fam, finally, before we get into the video, drop a little like and drop a comment, let us know why you hate the Death Company, and also say for sanguineous in the comments. Okay, let's start with the Death Company Captain. Now, I know what you're thinking. Angry Black Captain. Well, guess what? I am black, and I work my ass off to be captain. And sometimes I get a little angry. So alright, stats. So pretty basic captain stat line. You got the 3+ save with a 4+ invulnerable save. He also has the feel no pain on 6+, which makes him kind of okay, kind of wants to die anyway. So we'll be sending him into high toughness targets, and he'll also eat elites, fam. So loadout options, Chainsword gets 7 attacks, strength 4, AP 1, damage 1. Power Fist with 5 attacks, strength 8, AP 2, damage 2. And then if you want to be cool, you could give him a relic weapon, like give him one of your spears from the Sanguinary Guard kit, and then say he's like a fallen Sandguard dude, but then he only gets like 6 attacks, strength 5, still AP 2, damage 2 though. Not bad if you want to go into elites more often than vehicles, but we'll talk about that in a bit. So you could take the Chainsword and Bolter if you don't have any special weapons left over, but Power Fist and Plasma Pistol is probably the ideal loadout for this dude. Now onto his abilities. Alright, so the Black Rage, as mentioned earlier, it got buffed, so he now gives OC to the squad, but it gives him the ability to re-roll his hits. So that gives him an insane 94% chance to land every hit. Combined with Sustained 1, you get about a 60% chance to land an extra hit every time he fights. You can also fall back now with the Death Company if they have the Captain attached, which is good for if you're playing in lag and you need the charge bonus. Now, onto some more spicy stuff. Death Visions of Sanguineous. So when the Death Company Captain goes down swinging, he has quite a high chance to inflict mortal wound. So you get to roll 1d6, and then you get +2 if the enemy Warlord is in the opposing unit. So on a 2 to 3 you get d3 mortal wounds, on a 4 to 5 you get 3, and then on a 6 you get d3 +3. Now, where this ability gets spicy is in a couple of our detachments. In Liberator Assault Group, you can give this captain the enhancement Gift of Foresight, which gives him the ability once per battle round to change a hit, wound or saving throw to an unmodified 6. So I believe that enhancement works with this ability as it's a wound roll. So in lag, when this guy inevitably dies, you can guarantee d3 +3 mortal wound. In the Lost Brethren, it'll be cool to give him a Blood Shard, and then it'll give him the ability to stand back up on death and a chance to proc mortal wounds twice, but we'll get into enhancements a bit later. And now his unit ability, Lost to Fury, it provides the unit that he's leading with sustained hits 1. So paired with the Death Company Marines with the jump packs, that definitely spikes their killing ability quite high, especially if you start fishing for critical hits using the reroll ability. And then if you're also in the Lost Brethren detachment, fam, or more likely Angelic Inheritors, you get to reroll wounds of 1 as well. In Lost Brethren, if you're below half strength, you get to re-roll all your wounds, so you can start fishing there again. But that requires you to have lost a Marine or 2. Now, quickly, enhancements. In Libby Assault Group, you can give him the Gift of Foresight for extra 15 points, which will guarantee him the D3 plus 3 mortal wounds. You can give him Rage Fueled Warrior for the sustained 3, but I still think that's better on just a regular Blood Angels captain if you're going to play lag. But it's there. Fights first, once per battle, so you can make it's harder to charge him. But the more fun enhancements lie within the Lost Brethren detachment. Again, here we are talking heresy. But the Blood Shard, so he gets a stand back on a 2+. I think you also have that in Angelic Inheritors as well. So double mortal wounds, double fight. I think that's pretty fun. And then Sanguinius's Grace. So this is the enhancement that lets him fight twice when he's within an engagement with 3 or more models. And so there's a couple of ways you can guarantee this from proccing, and I think it's going to be the best way to use, or the second best way to use them, other than leading the Death Company Marines. But essentially, you give him the Sanguinius's Grace, and then you send him out as a lone op. He won't have cover from shooting, so you have to move from cover to cover. But this makes him an elite killing machine, fam. So, what do I mean by that? You just send him into a squad by himself on a death mission. I'm talking Blade Guard, I'm talking 8-Bound, I'm talking Terminator, I'm talking the Blightlord Terminators, which are just stinky Terminators. And so if you send him into these squads to do some angry punching, you'll get to proc his ability and almost wipe the entire squad. So I think on average, going into something like 8-Bound, even with a +5 save, I think he's got like chances to do about 60% damage. So 60% of his 12 damage. And this is about 8-ish, I guess. I think that's like 1 wound off killing. So you might not even get to fight the 8-Bound for a second time because you killed too many of them. So that was probably a bad example. So Terminators. But if they have a squad of 6 8-Bound, you'll be good. Even into something that are like tanky, like Deathwing Knight. I think statistically you can kill like 1 Deathwing Knight. I think you're looking at hitting like 60% of your damage, which is about 7-ish wounds. Against Blade Guard, he's likely to do something close to like 6 wounds. So you could almost wipe a Blade Guard squad by himself. And so I think that's where it'll be the most fun. I'd probably give him the Blood Shard. That'll be dope. He'll go and fighting, they kill him, then he gets back up, scraps again. Sick. So if you're interested to find out where I got the math hammer from, I found a nice spreadsheet on the internet, and you know you can believe everything that you find on the internet. So I'll chuck a link to the spreadsheet in the description, fam. The tool was created by Jonathan Polly to help enhance your enjoyment of Warhammer 40,000. Please direct any feedback to 40k@ghostlords.com. That wasn't a plug, it just says that at the bottom of the spreadsheet, so shout out Jono. Anyway, moving on. On to the Death Company Marines. So, the Death Company Marines, fam, most overlooked unit in our army. Why? Likely because no one knows quite how to use them efficiently and adequately in a list, and they're just worse intercessors essentially. But what if I told you that they could kill Blade Guard? Statistically, your Power Fist man and your Eviscerator man should kill 2 Blade Guard together, unless your opponent gets lucky with some spike rolls. At that point, you should probably check his dice. But then you got 3 chainsaws that should go swinging and should ideally take down the other guy. So 80-point unit versus 85-point unit. I think 5 points for the extra 2 guys. That's more fun. Plus, you get to scream for Sanguinius! Yeah! And then you can charge and die, and then blame some guy on the internet for telling you to use Death Company. But paired with a captain on foot in any detachment, fam, the Death Company are fucking a threat. Because then you give them Scout 6, right? People underestimate Scouts, fam. Scout 6, it's so dope. Start them on the line or close to any objective that you want. Scout them 6 forward, then yeah, they get there. If you're first boom, then you just can jail the opponent in his fucking backyard. And again, Lost Brethren detachment, fam. You get a 6-inch pylon with D3 plus 3 because you're not within 12 of a chaplain. Well, you could be if you charge your chaplain and advance your chaplain in behind your Death Company. It's a bit deep, but anyway. D3 plus 3 on the pylon, fam. That's pretty nice. And then you can get an extra pylon. So you get your Scout 6, then you move 6, plus your advance roll. And then you get to charge. And let's just say you got a 12 on the charge roll. And then D3 plus 3 pylon. Fam, you'll be doing laps around the board, fam. You can just run in and just jail everyone. That's provided that you do get some lucky dice rolls. That was like ultra maximum. But in that 1 out of 100 games that you play where that actually happens, it'll fully be worth it. That strat does require 2 CP and your faith in the Lost Brethren detachment. So I guess you have to wait till second turn to be able to pull that one off. Okay, moving on to Jump Pack. Where do you use the Jump Pack Marines? Again, these guys will delete most elite squad. So here we have a 5-man squad going into the Blightlord Terminators, which are pretty tanky, sort of really annoying enemy to deal with at the moment. So a 5-man and a captain should be able to kill the 3-man of Blightlord Termies, but the points cost for the trade isn't very efficient in our side, sorry. So I think Blightlord Terminators are like 115 for the 3-man, and then I think they're like 180 for a 5-man, whereas a captain with the Jump Pack squad will be close to 200 points. Plus, if they're being led by a character, you have to deal with that guy as well. So overall, not the worst trade. Didn't factor in any of the character attachment wounds and stuff, so he might just be on full wounds and you got to deal with him. But where I think they shine are in more vehicle type engagement. So like if you ever got stat checked by knights, well fam, that's because you're not taking Death Company. 5-man at Death Company will clap an armature. I think John covers that in his video a bit better. But essentially anything toughness 10 or lower, you're sort of averaging around about 16 wounds with the 10-man squad and close to 12 wounds with the 5-man. But to illustrate our point a little more with how well I think they are at dealing with vehicles, let's take a look at our big buddy, Mr. Crsf. So his profile is toughness 12 with a 3+ save, 5+ invulnerable against ranged, and a whopping 22 wounds. Now let's see if our Death Company can clap this big boy. Okay, so we got our angry punchy boys, and they're able to do about 4.4 damage, so we'll say 4. And then you got your angry gardeners with the big old hedge trimmers, and they're able to do about 2.6. So if you want to average that, we could say it's 7. Then you got your chainsaw boys, the backup gardeners, and they're able to do 1.5. And then you got the slapped in coming in with the big hand with 2.3 damage. So if we want to be generous, we'll say we did 10 damage. Kind of feels bad. Not too bad though, in my opinion. However, that was all without any stratagems. Now let's just take lag and we'll go and we'll battle shock these boys because they're gonna die anyway if they don't kill it. And we'll give them lance and lethal hits on the charge with our red rage stratagem. And now let's see how these scales tip in our favor. So first off, we got our power fists times 3 with lance and lethal hits. It pops us up to a whopping 11 wounds, followed up with a second course of Eviscerator helpings fam, serving up a not so tasty 7 wounds, and then we'll follow that up with a medley of chainsword options fam, mostly just chainswords, for a whopping close to 7 wounds. So there's 25 wounds fam, and your captain hasn't even attacked. Canis Rex? More like Canis Wrecked, am I right? Haha, yeah. And for some reason, if he's not wrecked on the ground, your captain will do a further 5 wounds. But you would have destroyed him with the Death Company, leaving your captain open to fighting Sir Hector. Now, I don't know his data sheet, but I'm pretty sure that the captain will show you that Hector's rectum is real. So, fam, there you have it. Death Company, strongest unit in our army. If you don't believe me, consult the Math Hammer spreadsheet in the link below. Take a big fat brick in your next list and say thank you very much propaganda for sharing this video. But still, for like vehicles and stuff fam, I think the Death Company for us are like a really decent unit now. I think they're actually a bit better than Sangard in the terms of like you can treat them a little bit more expendably than Sanguinary Guard. Like you really feel it when the Sangard get clapped. But Death Company, my Death Company always die. I just send them out to die. But they always clap the unit that they're going for, and they usually die to the second unit or even sometimes the third one. Whereas other times I've had Dante get shot off the board quite quickly. So just a quick recap. Death Company captain should definitely stop overlooking the captain fam, both on foot and with the jump pack. You just need to look at what his more efficient use cases are. But I think the most fun way to use them is definitely going to be sending him out as a lone op. I'm actually going to run 2. I'm going to run 1 as a lone op and then 1 with a 5-man of Death Company. I've got a little 2-game tournament coming up next month, and I'm hoping to have my Lost Brethren list finished. I've got a number of different Lost Brethren lists, I just don't actually have all the models. But if you're interested, I was thinking about making a video just dedicated to the Lost Brethren and why they're awesome. The the detachment specifically, and just share some love for our boys in black. Come on fam, they're sick. Alright, finally fam, if you're interested to see how I went in my very first game of Warhammer, I'll chuck a link to that at the end of the video. But otherwise, if you got this far in the video, I'd just like to say a big thank you. Bit reluctant to admit it, but I think this is my job now, so if you want to drop a like, drop a sub, that'll really help. But yeah fam, alright, new videos every time I upload, and we'll catch you in the next one. Alright, peace.